everyone. So I'll just start off by saying I agree with everything Mike said. So it's a good place to start, hopefully. So I'm Stuart Hawksworth. I work for the Health and Safety Executive, but I work for the Bespoke Research and Consultancy bit. So I'm not an inspector, I'm not a policy person. So if you ask any of those types of questions, I might just swerve them to make life easy. I head up something called the Centre for Energy Major Hazards, where we're interested in lots of energy technology. So we're doing lots of work around batteries. Probably 90% of our work right now is around hydrogen, and I'll talk about a few of those bits that we do there. And also derivatives and other ways of using hydrogen. So very interested in CCUS, very interested in ammonia and other approaches to use hydrogen. Go back the other way. Okay, so just to tell you a little bit about what we're about. So clearly support HSE and broader government. And the triangle at the top is how HSE has always worked. Regulation policy are supported by science and evidence, and we're that bottom bit that supports the science and evidence. But in terms of the work that I do and some of my colleagues, we're involved in lots of UK and international collaborations, and you can see some of the organisations there, just to network and understand what's happening in this space. So we've been doing that for about 20 years. So we've got a fairly good idea of what's happening out there, some of the problems, some of the ways that other countries are doing things. In terms of my particular role, I then have oversight of lots of the projects that we're doing, and I'll talk about those in a moment, covering power, heat, transport and industry, and lots of ways that hydrogen's been used to do those things. The pictures on the right, the middle picture is our multidisciplinary lab in Buxton in Derbyshire in the Peak District. We have a square mile where we do lots of exciting things like Mike showed you, not usually quite on the scale that Mike does it because we're not such a big site. And then the picture at the bottom right is from international activities that we're involved in, I'll say a little bit more about in a moment, where we get people from around the world together to think about hydrogen and hydrogen safety and how we prioritise. What are the issues that are coming along? What do we need to think about? What are the gaps in knowledge? It's worth saying, and Mike kind of alluded to this already, hydrogen has been used safely in industry for 100 years. We know how to do it in industry. Behind the fence on industrial sites, it's used a lot, used in some other environments as well, but where we're moving into is novel applications that want to use it in a different place where it's closer to the public and many of those things. We just need to think about how we do that properly. There are lots of novel applications out there, and you've heard about some of them already. And I just included a picture at the top right there of the ship that's transporting liquid hydrogen from Australia. It's liquid hydrogen of dubious origin, but we won't go into that. To deliver it to Kobe Airport in Japan. And this has been demonstrated, this is now operating, moving around 100 tons of liquid hydrogen, shipping it across the ocean. So those routes for moving energy around are starting to happen. Kind of building on what Mike said, the two key areas where we get involved are large-scale testing of phenomena, like Mike showed you. And what we've got here are a couple of pictures of a large tunnel that we have on site, where we've done some work in a project called High Tunnel, and this is looking at understanding hydrogen vehicle incident consequences inside tunnels and enclosed spaces. An EU-funded project collaborating with lots of other organisations across Europe. And then the bottom picture is us filling liquid hydrogen. Liquid hydrogen is very topical at the moment, particularly associated with aviation and other applications, and we're doing lots of work in that space. Looking forward, I think we've already heard from Richard, 25% of our energy that we use might be delivered through hydrogen as a carrier in 2050. It's got a clear role. I've been involved in this area for quite a long time, and increasingly, having looked at other ways of storing and using energy, many applications are now looking at hydrogen and starting to use hydrogen. Clearly, and as what I've just said kind of suggests, it's probably not the first place you go, but in the end it has lots of advantages that mean that you do end up there, so we need to figure out how to do that safely. Safety needs, to reiterate what Mike said, safety needs to be built in, you need to involve expertise, you need to deal with it properly. The bottom right-hand picture, this was an incident that occurred in 2019 in South Korea. It was a demonstration facility using electrolysis and wind power to generate hydrogen and store hydrogen to feed to a fuel cell. They got some things wrong. It was devastating. They killed 2 people, injured 6. And it brought everything to a halt in South Korea for a while. So we need to make sure that we get those things right. So I think that was it from me. I guess now it's you get to grill Mike and I, and ask us any questions you want within reason.